I needed some dioramas to make a home for my Pokemon Scale World figures, and this is how I made it. If you've only got a minute, you're in luck. I'll do a 30-second speed run followed by the full making of video. Let me know in the comments if you find this format useful. Cut foam a bunch. Make a box with that foam. Make the box look like rocks. Kitty cat. Make platforms. Spray paint. Do electronics badly. Pour resin. Install lighting. Make props. Install props. Make rocks. Lots of rocks. Dry brush. You're done. And now for the full making of. I used a good number of tools on this project, most importantly the hot wire cutters. The foam itself you can get at hardware stores. It's the pink installation foam or the green. There's different thicknesses and you can get it at Home Depot and Lowe's. But the most important thing is the Proxxon cutter. This is like a table saw that lets you cut the foam with a hot wire. It's pretty fun to work with. Here I'm using an X-Acto knife or a razor blade to score them so I can split them apart. And then glue it all together with hot glue, making a box for the entire enclosure. This was all measured to fit inside of the cabinet. You'll notice that the edges aren't very even, and it's because I go through with the wire and make it rough. To make the rocky texture, I usually take some foil and roll it up into a ball or a cylinder, and then roll that across the surface of the foam. Now you can see I don't have a very strong table for this. I also use rocks sometimes to give it bigger indents. Now I want the onyx to be able to fit in here, not permanently, but just a nice spot for him, so I'll cut out a little hole using my Proxxon cutter. And then using the handheld hot wire, I'll do these edges at kind of a 45-degree angle, but I vary the strength that I do at the angle so that I can get natural formations. To seal it up, I'll use Mod Podge and a mixture of white glue. That usually seals up the foam and the corners so that I can paint it really well. But that didn't really work too well to really fill those corners, so I used air dry modeling clay and put it in every single one of these corners just to seal everything nice and tight and give these corners kind of rounded edges. Then I use a mixture of Mod Podge and just acrylic paint to seal everything up and give a nice base coat. This helps get in all the corners and any divots in the foam so that it can be painted nicely. I use a mixture of gray and blue spray paint to give kind of a faded effect from the top to the bottom. I got this lighting that's meant for kind of being under kitchen cabinets or for streamers. It's an LED lighting strip that you can cut apart to move to different places. For this next part, I believe me from 3 months ago has something to say. So to wire these up, I've cut the LEDs into the fragments that I want to use, and then I'm measuring how far I want each chain to be. I've got these wires cut to that length. These wires are some kind of speaker wire that I got many years ago at Fry. Is on sale, and I use it for everything that's appropriate for this thickness of wire at least. And if you cut it open, inside you've got little grounding sheath, or not grounding but insulation, and then that unwraps. You've got 4 wires in here, and it's easy to remember. You can say brown and black are ground and red and orange are power, easy to remember. And then it's got a little, I think this is like a grounding wire, but I just take all of that out if I don't need to use all 4 wires. Like in this case I'm only using 2. Get rid of that middle wire there. I've just got 4 wires I can use to wire it up. Thanks, me from 3 months ago. Now you can see I'm soldering all those LED lights together, but I've lost my helping hands, the little grips that you normally use for it. So this is a really bad way to do it. Also, the flame here is getting a little bit close to everything. It doesn't need to be. I'm being a little haphazard here. This is the main part of it. I've split it out so that I can power 4 dioramas using these little power adapters that are split into 4. Then I use a 2-part clear casting resin with some different colors. I mix kind of a blue and green. And I'm going to put it into that little pool area on the left side. Now I'm eyeballing this. You really should measure it out by weight or by cups with volume markers, but when I use resin, depending on how sensitive it is, I kind of just work with it as I need to. If I find that it's a more sensitive resin, I'll be more careful. But here I'm just kind of mixing up the first layer along with some sapphire color to give a first layer of the pool. Now originally this pool was going to light up and I was going to carve out the foam from underneath, but the paint really stuck to the resin when carving out and I just couldn't get lighting to work underneath. I do this in multiple passes just so I can have them dry nicely. Then I go in and I drill a bunch of holes in the box so I can take what I soldered together, and then you'll see that I'm using a razor blade to cut diagonal shapes as channels for the wires to go through, just so I can hot glue it really nicely and keep everything nice and flat when I install it. These LED strips are all chained together in series. And then for some of these I took clear tubing and sanded it in order to try to diffuse the light, and I think that worked pretty well. So you'll see that it's not, you don't see individual LEDs so much because the sanded clear is kind of bouncing it in all kinds of different directions. I think it was a pretty effective way to do that. With some more clear casting resin, I'm making little jewels. These are things that you can get at Michael's or other hobby stores. I'm filling these molds with resin so I can have nice clear gems. I need to make some bigger rocks. I'm just using some of the pink foam from Home Depot to make a bunch of little smaller rocks. And I paint them. And then I just hot glue them all around the set. Make it try to look natural. And with these kind of gray and tan, I'm going to mix them together and do some dry brushing across the entire surface. This means I'm not mixing the paint with any water. It comes out real nice with all the details that I put in from the foil. Here I'm using kind of a 2-part epoxy putty to get all these stones placed in nice ways that'll hide the lighting and give good aesthetics to the whole scene. And in the back of the cabinet, I just taped everything up. This is for 4 dioramas. You can see all 4 installed here, along with the one that you just watched the video for. Now, hint, hint, there will be videos for each one of these dioramas and more. So if this is the first time you're watching this channel, I would appreciate a subscribe and a like, because I've got more to come. And if you're interested in Pokemon in general, I visited all the Kanto cities and most of the Johto cities and documented taking real-life Pokemon Snap toy photography in each of them. So if you like this video, I think you'll like that too. It was a lot of fun, and I explain a lot of the history of the different places and different features of the game. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great rest of your day.